Hey guys, I'm back. Basically what I wanted to do is try to, finish what I started. My last video, I put some information out there, but I didn't quite put everything in the video. So I'm going to end with this, and hopefully I'll be done with the whole situation. Only way I would put something else out if something else come to me that seems to be relevant and need to be put out there, but I'm not going to just be coming up with different things just to keep, riding on this Kanika thing. I really feel that her family needs justice, and anything that I can come up with to help get justice for Kanika, then I'm gonna do so. But other than that, I'm not just going to be looking for stuff just to and put her name on it just to get a view, or like I really don't want to get into that, but I do think that this information is important. Alright, so let me try to wrap this up because I don't know when this video is going to cut off on me. Alright, so basically what I'm showing is the bladder, and what this figure 10 say, with this case or whatever, it say the bladder of a patient who died, death to hypothermia. The bladder retained a large amount of urine and was firm. So they're basically telling us when a person died from hypothermia that the bladder would be full of urine and it would be firm. And this is not the only case. There's other cases out there. I just chose to use this one because it gives you an idea of what it would look like. It gives you the wording. It gives you the picture of the bladder. I put a little X because that's what a full bladder would be, death due to hypothermia. Here it says that in the urinary, what is this, in that section of the autopsy, the urinary bladder contains trace yellow urine. To me, when I read trace, that sounds like it was urine there, but it's no longer in the system. It sounds like you just see a little bit of something, but not a lot. Trace basically means the opposite of full. It means the opposite of a whole lot. It means it means little, very small, teeny, not enough, just an evident something. That's it. But when it comes to the bladder not being full, why is that if she died from hypothermia? So when I went to the next case study, because this basically saying that her bladder only had trace of urine, let's see what that means. So here it say the bladder in a non-hypothermic case, the amount of urine in the bladder was small. This death was due to thoracic trauma. Thoracic is the chest area, the lung area. And we all know, and from what I was presenting earlier in my other video, that I think her death was more based on respiratory failure than anything. Whether it was manually done or because she was in a freezer or in that closed-in little box. But everything lead into that direction, even with reading this. She had trace of urine. This here say a person death due to thoracic trauma also had very little urine in the bladder. So I'm moving more towards suffocation. I'm not going to say strangulation because I just think a lot of things was pertaining to the lung area, and you can be suffocated by someone putting a hand over your mouth. You can be suffocated due to not having enough air, oxygen to breathe. You can be suffocated if somebody put a bag over your face, plastic or whatever. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my other video, but I did see plastic in the freezer, and I also saw plastic in that other room next to the freezer. So how we not know that was, if that wasn't used and somehow she got it from her face, but because she was limp and maybe unconscious or whatever, she ended up dying, you know, it could be so many different ways and things that could have happened, but they want us to believe that her death was due to hypothermia. Now, before I end this video, it's very short and sweet because I did a lot of a lot of information out on my last video, so this one don't have to be as long. I'm back to the beginning of the autopsy. I'm noticing that it don't have a time of death on here. It just say date and the time and date of when the exam was done. Now my question is why they don't have the time she, you know, of death. I feel that that could have easily been determined by the environment, and the stages that you go through because of hypothermia. From what I've read, hypothermia can, you know, set in 30 minutes and being within the being in a cold environment for 30 minutes with the temperature below 7 or something like that degrees Celsius. That alone, your body temperature starts to drop in 30 minutes. Within that, that's when hypothermia sets in. It also stated that you can, between 1 and 2 hours, your body, matter of fact, hold on, let me find that. Give me a second. Here it says cold shock the first minute. Where to conduct heat. Okay, this is talking about, I guess, being in water, but hypothermia is hypothermia. I mean, you know, cold, whatever, it's all the same to me. It say hypothermia still takes about 30 minutes to set in between an hour and 2 hours to kill you. If death does occur, it will probably result from complications due to something called cold shock. So basically, this information here helps you come up with